we've come to expect aging musicians to be like, you did what you needed to do, relax. You don't need to put if you're going to put something out, it's probably not going to be good. All right. I don't want to hear a single thing Paul Simon ever writes ever again. All right. Like, I'm fine. Yet now we get this dude who's an aging musician who is only known for being a drummer and a drummer in metal bands. And he's putting out genuinely fun, interesting goth. Like, what?
Yeah. And it's also, again, like, how many people get to say, I made this music with my wife? I think it's very, like, sweet.
Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my Purple Rain loving co-host, Alexander Volts. Say hello.
Hello. I think our new dynamic is one of us is overdressed and the other will be underdressed.
I like that very much. That is exactly what's happening if you're listening and not watching.
It's getting warm in Southern California. It's heating up.
It's certainly, well, it's already heating up over there. We still got a little bit of cold where I'm at, which I'm grateful for. But once it gets hot, we're talking about the weather now. Once it gets hot, it's going to fucking suck.
It's going to stay that really way. Badly. It doesn't like, it's not like 1 or 2 weeks. It's just going to stay that way.
It's literally 4 to 5 months straight of 100-degree weather plus. It's fucking insane.
Anyways.
Don't look up where I'm at. Anyway, this is Every Album that we listen to every single album in the world. Usually that's a whole discography per episode, except for EAE singles episodes like this one where we discuss something brand new. And in this case, an album that's going to be releasing, I think, in 3 days from the day this is being aired originally. What are we discussing today?
We'll be discussing a band featuring Dave Lombardo and his wife, Paula, entitled Venamoris, and the album is called To Cross or To Burn.
Indeed. This is it. We haven't gotten, is this our first singles of the year? We haven't covered any new albums, like brand new albums.
We did some like catch up for last year with Sparkle Horse and Mercury Rev. But this is our first 2025 album of the year.
And it took us almost 2 whole months. I mean, damn. But
that's kind of par for the course, you know, the
slow start.
Yeah. Falls into the same trap movies do where, you know, people want the recognition later on. It's considered slower months for entertainment.
Unless you're 2024, in which case there were some bangers. Whatever, it's fine. So let's talk about this. Yes. We're here now. So this was not expecting this kind of project from Dave Lombardo. Is a man who he has many hats. He's a very interesting guy. For a dude who is known for Slayer primarily, check out an episode on Slayer from a million years ago. He sure plays a lot of very, very varied and interesting music as opposed to every other member of Slayer. Love Slayer, but you know, they stick to Slayer.
Yeah, I think when I was younger, playing the drums, I was drawn to Lombardo because there was just something about his playing style where I felt like this guy is not just a metalhead. Like, there's something about his playing, although it is arguably the standard bearer for fast speed metal. There's something about his playing where I was like, there's something else going on with him as well.
I never put that together. I can obviously retrospectively I can do that, but at the time, I mean, like as a teenager getting into Slayer and listening to all that, never put together like, oh, this guy is actually beyond in a way.
I think also too, I was when I would go to concerts, I would just watch the drummer. I wouldn't watch anybody else, and I still do that sometimes. But now I try to. It's more varied, but I don't know. I think I just kind of had like a sense where I could like watch someone play and like get I don't know. It's just bullshit, really. But like inside, I could feel there was something else going on.
Mm. Well, his friendship and frequent collaborations with Mike Patton, check out our various Faith No More, Bungle, Peeping Tom episodes, that seems to have opened the door, and this was released on, or is going to be released on Ipecac. This comes out February 28th, and
if people want a deep cut, I haven't listened to it in a long time. If for some reason Dave is listening, I apologize. I remember he did an album with DJ Spooky entitled Drums of Death, and it's called Drums of Death. I thought it was going to be the craziest thing ever, and being kind of disappointed, although I haven't listened to it in a long time. I may like it better now that my expectations are.
What kind of album is that? It's not just, is it just drums?
It's like kind of like electronic and hip hop, and
not expecting that. Was not expecting that. Not
yeah.
Maybe not Mike Sally. Maybe not.
Yeah, but that was like like when I had like audio proof, like, okay, this guy is actually like doing something different.
I mean, that is 100% different.
Yeah,
no doubt about that. But then you look, yeah. So you get the patent connection with Fantomas and Dead Cross more recently, which they're aggressive bands, but they're also very weird. And Dead Cross is a little bit less weird, but it's out of the realm of just thrash metal. Let's go fast. Let's go a little bit slower, which is all of thrash. I love thrash, but it's basically what it does. And then we get Venamoris, and it is, I mean, you would never ever guess that half of this group, this project, is one of the greatest drummers, because it's so not even that. It's like a goth album.
Yeah, I believe he's also. Is he playing other instruments on here? Well, they talk about.
I believe so.
They talk about his how he's picked up guitar lately. But yeah, it's I wouldn't listen to it and think, oh, this is the drummer from Slayer. So yeah, all instrumentation by Paula and Dave Lombardo. Except there are a few guests on here. We get Gary Holt. So
yeah, we get some cool. So might as well start talking about more the nitty gritty. So we got Gary Holt on Animal Magnetism, which is one of the singles out right now, and one of my favorite songs on the album. It's a very cool song. And as soon as the solo comes in, because there's guitar stuff on the album, sprinkled in. That's like the only solo on the album. So that song comes on, and the first thing I thought was, why the fuck is this solo so great? Like, why is this? Because especially when you think of, when you hear goth, you don't think of solos. And I mean, this isn't exactly goth, but it's very close. It's closer to goth than I would say than anything else. I can name off the top of my head.
I thought of Trip. I read the description after. I was thinking like, there's like some trip hop influences on here, and they do describe it as like a gothy trip hop album, which I think is
that makes sense.
A fair jumping off point.
Gothy trip hop, yeah, a little bit the grooviness of trip hop, but there's no record scratches or anything like that.
No, it's
pretty fucky. It's not super fucky like Porter said, but it's pretty fucky.
Yeah. There's this would easily fit right alongside a Chelsea Wolf album.
Yes, I was thinking Chelsea Wolf during this one as well. But so I'm back to Animal Magnetism. The solo comes on. You don't typically associate solos with goth. You don't hear and if you do, you hear some fucking little simple little thing that goes on for 2 bars and it's done, because that's not really what it's about. This is a fucking killer solo. Not just like, he's not just shredding all over the place. It's just like a really tasteful, interesting, aggressive, cool solo. And then I looked it up and realized it was Gary Holt. Like, oh, okay, obviously you get the Exodus man. Obviously it's going to be pretty great. Also, so it's like, that's the only bit of thrash metal we get on the whole album is that solo from Gary.
Also, it's a cover song.
Is it?
By the Scorpions.
Dude, didn't even know that. I don't fucking listen to Scorpions at all. Amazing. Amazing.
Neither do I.
They rule.
Yeah. No, this it's a phenomenal cover song. I love when people are able to take something and this craft something different, but it's still good. So like Talking about that though, because it's towards the end of the album, the pacing on this album really stood out to me. It is an album that does feel like an onion, where you're like every song peels back these layers, and it makes this interesting choice where the heaviest, most intense parts, I would say, are towards the end of the album. Like once you get on to a track like Holding On to Nothing, The Animal Magnetism, and Numb, those are like the heaviest, grittiest stuff on here. So yeah,
by far,
I just thought something like the pacing was just really well done. It does feel like they really thought about where to place each and every one of these songs, which can feel like a lost art.
I wasn't concerned exactly at first, but I was under if you're if you're like us and you listen to too many albums every day and every week, then you kind of get an idea of an album pretty early on, unless it's an interesting album. So with the opener, Stay With Me, which is one of my favorite songs in the album, it's a completely misleading opener. It's this beautiful retro cabaret. That's probably the wrong word. I don't know what the fuck a cabaret is, but it's something like that. It makes you feel something cabaret like, and it's got upright bass played by fucking the great Trevor Dunn, which was a nice little touch. And I was like, this is kind of awesome. This is really wonderful. And then In the Shadows comes in, and then that's kind of what we get. That In the Shadows, Truth, Stay in Pain. While they have like their own little flavors, they're all like, okay, we're in for a gothy time. And then as it goes on, it starts just throwing little tricks, little turns. And by the time we get to like the tracks you're listening, the heaviness really reminds me of a Nine Inch Nails kind of heaviness. Those type of synths. It's murdery. It's fun. It was very satisfying. Those are all my favorite songs in the album, pretty much. Or the final half, I guess.
Yeah, I do like the journey the album takes us on. I like opening the song with Stay With Me, and they have these old-timey effects on it to make it sound like you're listening to like a radio in the early 1900s or what.
Totally.
Yeah, so I thought it did this good job of setting up this like beautiful yet unsettling thing. For fans of the game BioShock, the opening shot,
hell yeah, dog.
Yeah, like that opening track would not be out of place in a BioShock game. So I dug that. And then In the Shadows, cranks it up a little bit. You get these like military snare rolls. You get the choir vocals.
Lots of, gothy as fuck choirs. A little on the dramatic side, like Castlevania choirs.
Yeah.
So talking about video games.
And I do feel like that influence of his friend Patton is felt some here, where there is like this balancing act of dark elements and older traditional, almost pop music in a way.
Yeah, there's a nice little variety here. Most of what I felt you said is like on Stay With Me, where that's kind of the oldest feeling song, and especially with just the writing. The presentation too, but it just the rest have a lot of darkness. There's a couple moments of light, but not many. And as far as like this diversity and feel, I like little touches like Stain of Pain and Burnt Paper both do a little specific thing. Stain of Pain brings in little classical guitars, and it's a little bit sultry and has like a big more live feel to it. So yeah, all right, that's a nice little personality to that one. Burnt Paper goes medieval a little bit. More minimal drums, a little bit more what do you call them, tribal? I don't know what I would fucking call those drums. They're very interesting drums.
His drumming is very restrained for a drummer like Lombardo, and I think that's probably one, the music doesn't call for it, but two, he's wearing a lot of different hats on this album. I thought Stain of Pain was great. The little classical Spanish guitars give it a unique flair other songs on the album don't have. Listening to that, I was like, this could be a Sade song.
If she was lucky.
Yeah, not lyrically, but musically. Yeah. Right. And then Burnt Paper is is one of the creepiest on the album, but it's still beautiful. I think those are really strong tracks.
Yeah, so some of the strongest. And least favorite. So there's things I don't like about this album for sure. Least favorite song, and it's not even close, is Spiderweb. I don't like. I just straight don't like the song. I like every other song. It's not even like a lukewarm, like take it or leave it. I just don't like it. There's something about it that rubs me the wrong way. But I think what actually does rub me the wrong way about it is, Paula is a very pleasant singer. She has a nice voice and sings correctly, sings well. I don't love all her choices. And it's not even like the melodies. I like the melodies for the most part pretty much. I like the melodies that she's singing. It's little choices in style that I don't. It's just personal preference. Don't care for, like the way she'll like begin phrases, some of the cadences, some of the choices that feel very familiar, and they feel a little safe. Like, it feels like a very carefully safe. I'm going to sing this nice. I'm going to make sure it sounds nice. I'm going to sing it very. It doesn't sound like this vocalist I'm going to compare her to, but it reminded me of the same thing. Fucking Minus the Bear, a band whose I love one album of theirs, and I don't give a fuck about the rest. I've also heard very nasty things about the members of that band. I'm not going to go into detail of why I know that or who, but that's also completely irrelevant. Please don't.
Neither here nor there.
Don't hunt me down. But the vocalist for Minus the Bear, at least from the stuff that I heard, he has a nice voice. He's singing all the right notes. He's singing vocal lines that sound good with the songs. I don't give a fuck about his voice. If he was not there entirely, I would be just as happy, if not happier. He's not doing anything wrong. He just sounds so normal and doing everything right. And with music that's this interesting, I kind of want to hear some wrong. I want to hear some weirdness. I want to hear someone being less nice.
I get where you're coming from, and yeah, there were. I wouldn't go as far as you did, but like there are definitely moments on the album where I was like surprised by the vocal choices, because I was thinking, oh, I can imagine a like Billie Eilish or Eilish, or I apologize. Like
Eilish,
yeah, I can imagine her like presenting her vocals in a similar way. So in a way, it is like also modern too, despite the opening track being rooted in these old sounds.
Modern, yes. So, that's probably the word I was looking for.
Yeah, so I get where you're like, knowing you personally, like I get where you're coming from. It wasn't as much of a hindrance for me.
Yeah, it's not like I think it's not a good album now because I don't like her particular style. I think it's fine, and it's not like it's a sore thumb or anything. It's just if I'm going to pick something that I noticed that I didn't like as much, it would just be certain choices. The modernness, I guess, of it is a much better way than saying she fucking sounds like the guy from Minus the Bear, but not really. Like,
it's a very long way to go about it, but I'm sure someone's.
They hit too many right notes. They sound too nice. They sound too good. They sound too perfect and clean. I just tend to not like that in general, but that's all pop music. So,
talking about stuff that's not perfect, though, and I've been patiently waiting, but I'm like, that's my segue right there. I really enjoy the track Truth.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's a piano or what instrument that is. It sounds very unique, very different. It really is a slowed down Slayer riff. And then
I didn't even think of that.
I don't know why I thought of it immediately. And then Lombardo's drumming is like, that's his most interesting drumming on the album to me. It's very like loose with time. It's almost like I know he's like doing it intentionally, but it sounds as if he like wants to play faster. He almost has this jazz approach to it, so that like taking that metal riff, applying it to this, I'm just going to call it some sort of electronic piano, and I'm probably wrong, and playing this loose jazz. I just found it fascinating. I think it's a great track, and her vocals are perhaps the most trip hop on that track.
That's one of my lesser favorite vocal choices of hers on the album, but I will agree that I think it's the best drum beat on the album, or one of the coolest anyway.
Because I think the playing a genre like this where it can be very electronic driven, and you're kind of locked into these like grids of electronic like almost perfection. To hear that like something a little more loose over it felt very cool.
That is cool because with the nature of electronic music in general is that it's at least rhythmically perfect, even if it's doing something insanely like a fucking Aphex Twin doing something insanely crazy, time signature wise or whatever the hell. It's still perfect because it's dialed in. It's literally, you press the button to program it to be dialed. So the fact that you can get something looser with the little electronic elements is a nice little touch. That's also one of the singles out right now, I think.
That's also why Jay Dilla is one of the best to ever do it. Like, yeah, he made it sound human. And like now I think it's easier to make it sound human with the way programs are, but like manipulating a drum machine. Oh man, sorry. That book like stayed with me.
Yeah, because like it's mostly knowing just how a human moves that you kind of do that. Like where when I was like programming drums for my EP from forever ago, you should all listen to it, by the way, there's a link in the description. I even though I'm not trying to pretend this is real drums, I still want it to be played back, programmed as real drums. So if I was doing ride hits, programming ride hits, it changed the volume of when you would hit it harder. You'd hit it harder on the one, and then you a little bit lighter on the rest or whatever. So you program it to make it seem like that's what a person would do, even though it's very clearly not a person doing it.
Yeah.
Like little choices like that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's this one track on the
Yeah. So what else we got? More heaviness with some Nine Inch Nails-isms on Numb. But I will say that intro did remind me a lot of Kraftwerk, which I thought nice little neat little retro sounding electronics there.
Yeah, I like the putting Numb right after Animal Magnetism. It continues the upbeat nature of that song. They're like two of the most upbeat things, and yeah, Numb, like if you want that like the more gritty stuff, it's definitely in the back end of this album. I do think ending the album on a title track is interesting. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where they close with the title track.
My first album.
Oh, okay. There, Mike did it.
No, that's just the first thing I thought of. But also, Line of Purple by Broad Bill. It's fine now. It's okay. It's fine. I would do things differently now. I don't think it's a bad album.
Part of being human.
Yeah. There's definitely others, and I'm sure we covered a bunch, but now they're jumping out at me.
Yeah, I like the with that closing track. It's almost like the album does a U-turn. They bring in this organ. To me, it's very like evocative of those classic Universal monster movies. So it's like we started off with something that sounds old, and we're bringing you back to that old sounding thing to close out the album.
And it's also my favorite song on the album.
Nice.
And it's like pretty like decidedly my favorite song on the album. You nailed it with the old Universal monster comparison. Like the synth lines, they're very campy, but they're fun and they're quirky and they're just nice. I mean, they're not nice. They're just cool. They feel good. I don't know what the hell. There's no real proper way to explain how that line makes me feel.
It feels good in the context of the song.
Yes. And it's also very groovy. It's one of the groovier songs on the whole album. And then around 250, it goes through this shift and it gets all anthemic and light and like, oh, that's like the modernness, the poppiness that I was saying I didn't like. Let's put it into a context that makes the song actually more varied and more whole. Where that actually if the whole song was that riff or that whole section, as like the foundation, I wouldn't really care for it very much. But you throw it in as a completely unexpected section in this fucking campy ass song. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, it's a nice debut album. It's probably not gonna like change anybody's world or anything, but I think for someone who's been in the music industry as long as Lombardo, who has his, this is what we think of him doing, to do this like to me sweet and nice project with his wife, I think it's beautiful. Like, and this to do something different and to be older and take on these, like, playing all the different instruments. It's like, you could do far worse for side projects, solo albums, whatever you want to lump this in.
I would say that's almost an understatement. Like you think of, when you think of aging musicians, things are different now because of stupid fucking internet and whatever and time. But as a kid, when we think of like aging musicians, you think of like fucking like Bob Dylan or something, or I don't know, Neil Young, or who the hell else? Fucking Neil Diamond, anyone. Like and you think of the things that they're putting out in their later age.
Yeah.
You wouldn't dare to listen to that garbage.
No.
It's like, it's just this Christmas bullshit you find at Starbucks. That's Bob Dylan now. Yeah. One of the greatest lyricists that ever lived is now putting out some of the worst shit you can imagine. It's insane. That was like the natural trajectory of musicians for a long time.
I remember like being a kid and a teen, and they would like gas up Dylan's old stuff. And I'm not even one to be speaking on it, but I get where you're coming from. And also, fun note, speaking of like old singers, Paula was a backing singer for Wayne Newton in Vegas.
Dude, I could have said Wayne Newton also.
That's why I thought of it. I was like, oh yeah, because she's like accompanied those guys, or one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that guy is if the aliens are real, they model themselves after his face.
But he could be like, I always thought that was fun in the Men in Black movies when they're like, oh, these celebrities are aliens, but these ones aren't.
Yeah. That's awesome. I haven't gone back to the first two in a long time, but man, you put on that first movie in front of me at any point, I'm sitting down and I'm watching the whole goddamn thing.
It is one of the most perfect comfort food movies.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay attention to it. It's really not that deep. You have Vincent D'Onofrio going
role of a lifetime
so hard for no reason. Like,
he goes so hard in that movie.
He's a gem that I don't think like Hollywood really like ever appreciated him.
He's always been the great. I mean, he was known for Full Metal Jacket for a long time, and like, yeah, if that's not enough, then he's also the Roach Man from
the Roach Man,
also Kingpin.
Yeah, he said, "I will play your super villain, but he's gonna be autistic as fuck," and it's amazing,
and it's perfect.
Yes,
for some reason it works amazing.
Yeah,
but so the reason I brought up the whole Bob Dylan sucking in his later years is because we've come to expect aging musicians to be like, you did what you needed to do, relax. You don't need to put if you're going to put something out, it's probably not going to be good. All right. I don't want to hear a single fucking thing Paul Simon ever writes ever again. All right. Like, I'm fine. But yet now we get this dude who's an aging musician who is only known for being a drummer in fucking metal bands. And he's putting out genuinely fun, interesting goth. Like, what?
Yeah, and it's also, again, like, how many people get to say I made this like music with my wife or for her husband? So yeah, like, for the more darker people, I think it's a very like sweet sentiment as well.
It is sweet.
Yeah,
it is sweet. Yeah, the fact that they put out something that we're not just saying like to be nice. Like, oh, it's a nice record. It's pretty good. It's a nice little thing. It's a very sweet thing they did together. It's not bad.
No,
it's a good ass record.
No, we've been out of pocket at times. Would not this gas up the album this because it's sweet.
Yeah, no, we would say it's sweet. I'm sorry, but it stinks. It doesn't stink. So there we go. But yeah, so this comes out, February 28th. Obviously, if this is later than that, then you will have it, and therefore you should listen to it. And also big thanks to Monica from Speakeasy for sending this our way. And yeah, Ipecac is a label that
you could just pick anything like at random.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
but you're gonna get, it's such a eclectic label, which is obvious considering it's founded by Patton, but it's also like it. I can't think of So when I think of labels, indie labels specifically, I think of like clicks. You know, like they all know each other. They're all friends. Mm-hmm. You got to be like,
you kind of got
like an exclusive club kind of thing,
or like fit in that mold.
You got to fit in their little thing. It's kind of like a club. It's like a hint of elitism, even when they're like as grassroots as they can be. There's a hint of it because they still want to keep things that they like on. So even if you're as nice and as open as possible, you're still going to be a little bit elitist because you're still gatekeeping. So Ipecac is one of the few labels, I'm sure there's more, and feel free to let me know, where it feels like dudes putting out records by all their buddies, like genuine friends putting out their friend stuff because they're friends. Like, it doesn't feel so much like handpicking things that would fit your style and fit your image. It's just like, this is my buddy. I like him. He's cool. We're putting out his fucking record. That's Ipecac is like totally that label when I think of it.
Very like diverse. What was that one hip hop group we did for a bonus episode? But we're like they're a metal group.
Oh, Dialect.
Yeah, like like you have like, I believe Dialect has released stuff through Ipecac, and like, yeah,
I believe so.
Like you have like an Oxbow album, and you have Dialect, and you have this. Oh yeah, Dialect is on there still. You have McCluskey coming out on there. And,
hell yes.
Like, yeah, there's just all these different things for, I guess, weirdos, but different like, people.
You don't see any consistency with the type of music. You can get plenty of diversity in a lot of indie labels for sure, but like this, you look at their catalog, it makes no fucking sense. Like that's what I like, because like they just like the band, they're friends with them, and they trust them, and there's like no real commitments. I know, like I think the bands still hold like all the ownership, I believe. Mm-hmm. I think I remember hearing Buzz talk about that. That's what kind of why Melvin's put everything on Ipecac,
dude.
Now, but
I didn't realize the scores. Sorry to cut you off. This is just too random and too good. The scores for the Half-Life video games were released through Ipecac.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's so good.
That's what I'm talking about. That's like, they just liked the music for Half-Life, so that's is that the reason? It's a testament to a good label, I would say. When it's that, like, so Mike Patton has his reputation as, whatever he is, the wild man, the crazy vocalist. And I remember, I think I saw a clip of Buzz saying, like, if people really knew who Mike Patton was, fans of Mike Patton wouldn't be fans of Mike Patton. And I think I'm not going to be like, I'm sound like a fucking asshole saying like, I would be more of a fan, but you can tell if you pay attention to, like, not if you just pay attention to how he is, he's a weird guy. He's insanely open-minded, like more open-minded than you could even fathom.
Oh yeah,
weirdly open-minded, too open-minded.
Yeah,
even.
If someone's like, "Do you want to listen to Italian pop music?" I'm probably gonna say no, but this guy did a whole. Well, I would do it now because he showed me the ways, but. This guy did a whole album of Italian pop music.
Yeah, what the hell was it called? I listened to it a bunch and I've already forgotten.
I always forget what it's entitled.
Mondo Cane.
Okay.
So not only that, so you said it at time pop music. I would cite fucking easy listening.
Oh sure,
he's just all about easy listening. Like so
to the point.
So you see
to the point where he had to cover the Commodores easy.
Not just the Commodores, he covered with Mr. Bungle. They covered what the world needs now.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's countless others that he's covered, but you see a label made by a guy who genuinely likes everything and is interested in everything and is not afraid to champion some banana shit. Mm-hmm. So now we're just sucking the dick of Mike Patton and Ipecac now, but it's nice that if Dave Lombardo wants to put out a fucking album with his wife that has nothing to do with Slayer or metal or all the things that he's known for, he doesn't have to make an argument or fucking pitch at people because his buddy's like, yeah, fuck it, put it out. It's cool.
Yeah, he doesn't have to jump through hoops and yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, interesting. I would say, yeah, some labels are like a nice little bastion of like, holding it down for independent music. Ipecac is a fun one. I might not like everything on there, but I'm glad it's around. But yeah, if you're interested at all in gothy music, because if you're interested in Slayer only, I can't imagine this would be up your alley.
Unless you're a cool Slayer fan, which I don't. I can't say I socialize with too many like outright Slayer fans. The Slayer fans I know, it's like we like it, but we've moved on and.
Yeah, we moved on to Prince and wearing suits for no reason. That's what we do now.
I've been listening to Prince for a while, but
hell yeah. But yeah, if you want to check it out, go to check it out. And aside from that about does it for us. So thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. If you want to support us further, you know what to do. Like the goddamn video. Okay, leave a comment. Tell us why we're stupid or why I should dress differently. Why Alex should not dress differently. maybe not. Maybe I should start wearing Prince cutoffs, and that's the way it's gonna go.
I am a warm, sweaty man, so when it heats up, I like to be. I'm a comfort over style. Comfort over style.
Yeah, I when it comes to sweating, I'm a back sweater. I'm a back sweater and a middle of the chest sweater. Very odd.
I'm back. I'm armpits. Where do you want it? Yeah,
I think I've built up an entire coating of antiperspirant over years of use that I don't piss with my pits anymore. It's probably not good for me. Might get cancer soon, but
aren't we all?
Yeah, like leave a comment, do all that, subscribe, blah 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 blah, whatever. You can follow me on all social media at Panda Monkey and Alex on Blueski at
Octatron 3030. And very active in that Discord.
And the Discord, which means Patreon, baby. Patreon.com/everyalbumever. That's where you go. You get to see our schedules in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. Join the Discord, like Alex said. Be a part of the very, very fun and frankly nerdy community where this is where we can talk about all the things that our daily life friends have never heard of. I can't talk about music with any of my friends except for Alex. So that's why Discord is important because it brings us together. All right. Well, Tom too, of course. And speaking of Tom, I will get to his plugs in a second. Patreon, go there, do that. You can also suggest brand new albums from this year so we can do episodes like this on them. It also helps to keep us up to date because there's a lot of things coming out and it's hard to keep track of what we should be keeping our eyes on. It's really overwhelming. And if you're tier two, request episodes for us. It's nice and fun, and it's very, very helpful. And it's a lot of work, but they're bigger, longer, and they're more fun episodes. So go there for that. Hell yes. Don't forget to follow our history guy, Tom Osman at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for his music. He does much research for us. He has his own podcast where he interviews lots of indie musicians. Stuff you've heard of, stuff you haven't heard of, and it's all very insightful. It's peek behind the curtain, especially if you're a musician yourself and you're wondering what the hell, how these people are surviving and doing it. It's a different story with every single one of them. It's crazy.
I like everyone. I like Tom's line. If I could put over Tom a little bit, I like his line of questioning it. He's like a man who's been in the trenches a little bit, so I feel like he has this like relatability other interviewers don't have with the musicians.
He's struggled. He's also an artist. He also is a very good artist, by the way. And he's genuinely curious about the process.
Yes.
And has watched it change over the years. And yeah, it's really like next week it'll be different.
Mm-hmm.
Just where it's really daunting, but it forces artists to be flexible. It's very, very interesting stuff. But links to all that in the description. And I guess that's about it. Closing it out. Well, we got at the time of recording 4 singles to choose from. We got In the Shadows, Truth, Spiderweb, and Animal Magnetism. I'll tell you which one I don't want it to be.
Well, obviously, but I mean, yeah, I could go Magnetism or Truth. It's like a great cover song or a very interesting, diverse song.
As much as I genuinely prefer Animal Magnetism, and across the board, Truth is the band, is them. That is who they are.
That's like the most
original,
unique thing. Yeah.
All right. So hell yeah. So this is Truth. Thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.